Little Bay Beach Hotel in Amsterdam, Canadian Pacific Plaza in Curacao, the Four Seasons Vancouver, and in the Four Seasons in Edmonton in Canada. I worked in Veldhoven, which is in the southern part of the Netherlands. It's Elache. Golden Tulip Geldrop, and the last one, Golden Tulip Van Monten, was my own hotel, which I sold 8 years ago. And after I sold the hotel management school, Maastricht, called me up and said, well, would you like to share your expertise with us? Because you know so much about the business. I said, okay, well, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I spent 4 years being a lecturer at the hotel management school, Maastricht. This is Hester. Yeah,
Thanks. So I have no ningún experience with hotels and ningún experience with revenue management. So why am I here? Because we're a team. I am actually a consumer psychologist. So I study economic and consumer psychology. And it always intrigues me to know what are the drivers of people. How do people think, and what do they want, and how do they make their decisions? So I'm very curious to look in everyone's heads, maybe the consumers' heads, and find out how do they work. And from knowing this, also coming up with new ideas, like what kind of business can we create to really create value, not just to make revenue, to make money, but to really create a new value for them. And in the end, also trying to get this together to create something that people need, but that also the world needs, so that we can create sustainable business. I'm from Amsterdam. Well, I'm not from Amsterdam, but I live in Amsterdam now. I've also lived in Rome in Italy, but it was only when I was a baby. And I still want to discover a lot of the world. So that's why I also joined PUM. I don't know whether you got a quick introduction of PUM already. Well, PUM is actually a voluntary company from the Netherlands. And they match experts in all kinds of fields, like Steve is the hotel expert, to companies, the PYMEs, the small and medium enterprises in mainly developing countries, to match them and see what's your challenge and how can we help you in 2 weeks, but also in some coaching afterwards. And it brings us all over the world, so that's really nice to meet your culture as well, and really understand from different perspectives how business works as well. So I started in sales myself, a sustainable platform for sustainable energy, where they matched demand and oferta y demanda, the green energy. I did sales directly on the street to understand how consumers think. Then I went to digital marketing and growth hacking to try to persuade people online to buy something. And then I felt I don't just want to persuade these people, but also really understand like what do they need and how can we create new products or services for this. And then I went to innovation. So this is mainly a presentation of Steve and a discussion that he wants to have with you on revenue management. But I'm here also to sometimes maybe broaden up the discussion, to have a look at it also from a consumer perspective, also from a broader business look. So I will be sitting right there, and sometimes I might jump in.
I'll have you come in. Now I understand all of you guys want to go into the hotel business. Is that right? I don't think so. Before I say something, when I say guys, it's gender neutral. Okay, it's not boys and girls. Guys, it's gender neutral. So let's keep. Revenue management is what we're going to talk to you about today. Does anybody know what revenue management is? I hope to explain to you. The presentation today is about skills, about knowledge, about insights and aptitude to apply revenue management in a professional and skillful manner. Revenue management is a bit of a science. We were at a hotel this morning, and the lady who was there asked us, no, actually we asked her, how can we help you? She said, well, I would like to know something about revenue management. And before you knew it, she was very confused about the science of revenue management. It doesn't work. Okay, now, if you're looking for a position in hotel management, this is what the hotel managers need. Somebody who's analytical, who knows how to interpret data. Without data, we don't live anymore. Absolutely needs to be strategic. You have to think in a strategic way to see how you can tackle the future with your hotel or your business. You should be able to build relationships. You can't do it on your own. You need associations, you need people to help you. You need to sell your strategy also internally in your business or your hotel. And you need to be a good communicator. And of course, once you are a manager, I'd like to introduce you to the 5 types of managers. We have managers who make things happen. Now we have managers who think they make things happen. We have managers who watch things happen. We have managers who wonder what the hell happened. And we have managers who have no idea anything happened at all. It's for you to decide which type of manager you want to be. Okay, students we like to work with and who, what the industry is looking for are students who are committed. You should be interested. You should be hands-on, get your hands dirty. Be curious, ask questions, be creative, be punctual. 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock. And know how to have fun, because hard work is good, but hard play is also good. You rock and you rule. So now let me try to introduce you to revenue management. It is the application of data analytics to current trends and consumer behavior to maximize revenues and profits. Now that's a mouthful. I understand that is not very easy to understand, but the main ingredient in this slide is your data analytics. In your smartphone that you all have is a lot of data. Everybody knows everything about you. You think you're protected, but hell no, you're not protected. Google, Facebook, Instagram, you name all the platforms, they know all about you. The thing is, how do you analyze this data to make it into a revenue and a profit stream? That is the main question. Because we try to sell in the hotel business, we're trying to sell the right product to the right customer at the right price, at the right time, using the right channel. Now that's not very difficult at all if you just name it like this. The right product to the right customer at the right price, at the right time, and using the right channel. Here you see all kinds of channels. People booking online everywhere in the world, trying to go to your hotel. Now, how do you manage all this without it being a nightmare? Because all these, what they call online travel agents, OTAs, all these people are providing a service out there to bring clients to your hotel. But as I said, you want to use the right channel, which is good for you, because these channels are not for free. They ask a commission. And for hoteliers, it is very good to have direct bookings to your hotel instead of using all these platforms trying to get the reservations to your hotel. Take it, Booking. I guess you guys have heard of Booking. Expedia, those are very well-known booking channels, hotels.com. For instance, Expedia will charge a commission between 23 and 26% of every dollar that is being booked into your hotel. They want also a membership fee and $2 or $3 per booking on top of the commission. So, being a hotel man myself, I think these guys are crooks. They steal, right? But anyway, they are so big, and the hotel business, I must admit, has been sleeping the last 20, 25 years because these things were happening and we had no clue. We just didn't know that this was happening. It's the same thing with Uber and with taxis. It just happened. A social platform just popped up and the taxi industry was being disrupted. Same thing with Airbnb. Somebody thought about that and it just happened. And they're all a threat to the hotel rooms in your hotel. So, this being said, revenue management is an art, it's a science, a little bit of instinct, and a lot of common sense. You just have to think logically what will happen next because you have data and you are able to analyze the data. Now, in our announcement, we said revenue management and real estate. You might not think that's a logical combination, but it is. Because without real estate, you can do revenue management, and without revenue management, you can do real estate. Your real estate has location, your type of hotel, the operator of the hotel. Are you running it yourself, or are you farming it out to Hilton, to Hyatt, to Marriott? Which brand are you going to use? Is it the local brand? Is it the international brand? Which type of contract do you have with your operator or your brand? You have investors, because building a hotel is not cheap. You need capital. You need to explore the market. That's again where data logistics come in. You have a building that you need to manage. And by managing all this, you add value to your building. It is something that a building is a dead place, but if it brings money to your hotel, it adds value to the building. So the connection between revenue management and optimizing development of your real estate lies in the fact that they can't do without each other. If you don't have income, you can't build. If you build and you don't have revenue management, you don't have income. Now, a nice example of common sense. I'll introduce to you the Average Hotel in Las Vegas, which has 100 rooms. Okay, this is a very simple exercise. And the cost per room, per stay, per night is $20, right? Now here we have ADR, which is average daily rate. You have your occupancy, you have your revenue, your cost, and your profit. This hotel has decided to charge the customer $60 on Wednesday night, $80 on Thursday night, and $110 on Friday night. With these rates, we see that a lot of people like this low rate, right? $60, maybe in a 5-star hotel in Las Vegas, who wouldn't want to be there? But with $80, you get less bookings. And at 110 on Friday, you're just doing 50%. Now, can any one of you tell me on Wednesday night how much the revenue is here? 100 rooms, 90% occupancy at $60. Tell me. Anybody?
5,000.
There we go. 5,400. Very good. What about on Thursday? 70% and $80.
5,000.
Very good. Friday. That's right. There you go. So apparently on Thursday, you're having the highest revenue, right? Are you making money on Thursday? Who's making the most money here? This one here? Okay, let's see if you're correct. What are the costs on Wednesday? 90% occupancy, $20 per room per night. What are the costs to operate on Wednesday? 90 times 20, 1,800. Okay? On Thursday, how much? $70 times 20, 1,400. And on Friday, 50 times 20 is 1,000. Now we get to the bottom line where you make money. 3,600, 4,200, and 4,500. Now, isn't that a surprise? That even though you're only at 50%, but you're able to charge $110, you're making more money than the rest. And it's even better to have only 50% because you have less cost of staff, less maintenance, less laundry, name all the expenses that you have. So at the end of the day, it makes more sense to have a lower occupancy but a very good rate because at the end of the day, you make more money. Okay? So you guys are doing your management training. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about teams. You need to create visions. You have your business ethics, your support team. You have to make decisions all day. That's a very tough thing to do. Now, what is the essence of revenue management in this game that we just saw? Revenue management started in the airline industry. American Airlines in the 1970s started selling different seats with different restrictions were sold at different prices. So different seats, for instance, first class, with different restrictions were sold at different prices. Even now, first class, economy, or economy comfort, or business class, they all have different prices. And it started in the 70s by American Airlines. The problem is, how do you manage your inventory, the amount of seats in a plane, to be kept available at the highest or most expensive class? In other words, how much inventory should the revenue management make available in each class at each point in the sales cycle and at what price? That's a science. You can't do it by hand, you need a computer. And it's very nice that, as we said, the right product to the right customer at the right price, at the right time, using the right channel. Now, an example of the airline industry is KLM, which is a Dutch company, as you know. KLM started with revenue management in a very early phase. And a lot of airlines do this. If you call them up or you're online in their system looking for the best prices to fly to Santa Cruz or La Paz or Miami, they will know your computer. Your computer is known, okay? You've searched the internet on the KLM's prices. You said, nah, these guys are too expensive. I'll go to another airline. Go to Boliviano. No, don't go. We were stuck in Sao Paulo because they didn't work, so we're not fans of Boliviano. But anyway, you look at Boliviano, and apparently their prices are even higher than KLM. So you come back on your computer to KLM, and their system will recognize your computer and say, listen, you looked at our rates an hour ago, but in the meantime, our prices went up. That's their form of revenue management that every airline uses these days. Oh, this is just some things, let's not go over that. In which industry is revenue management used? Capacity is relatively fixed. A hotel has 100 rooms. It doesn't have 90 today and 110 tomorrow. It has 90 rooms. It doesn't have 80 next day, so it's relatively fixed. The demand can be separated into distinct market segments. For instance, business, leisure, government, senior citizens, or whatever, so that they can find out which prices can be applied to which segment. Inventory is perishable. What do I mean with that? Tell me. You know what perishable means, right? If you don't use it, it goes to waste. Like your salad, you don't eat your salad today, you can't eat it tomorrow. It's perishable. And why is inventory in a hotel perishable? Because if you don't sell the room tonight, you can't sell it tomorrow. Right? You can't sell it tomorrow. So you either sell it today or you don't sell it. There's nothing in between. Most of the time, the product is sold well in advance of consumption. Now, this is not really true these days because everybody is on this cellular these days, and you book a hotel within 10 seconds, within 20 seconds. So this is not really true. But what does happen is demand fluctuates. Today could be high demand, tomorrow could be low demand. There could be a festival in town, a carnival, or there's a special convention in town. So the demand for hotel rooms goes up and goes down all the time. Marginal sale costs are low and marginal production costs are high. It takes a lot of money to run a hotel. You have lights, you have water, you have laundry, you have staff, you have your purchasing of the food and beverage. It goes on every day. It's very high. But sales costs could be very low because for a 100-room hotel, you could have 1 or 2 salespeople to sell your room, which is not too high. Okay, where is revenue management applied? Traditional and non-traditional. In the airline industry, that's where it started. In hotels, of course. Car rental agencies. Now, especially during the pandemic, a lot of car rental agencies got rid of their cars. And now that everybody wants to travel again, prices have gone up tremendously. Cargo, rail and road, tour operators, cruise companies, high demand, they raise their prices. Non-traditional energy, if there's a high demand for electricity, prices go up. Broadcasting, let's say there's a Super Bowl event in Miami or in Houston, and you want to advertise before the event, boy, you will pay an arm and a leg. Healthcare, if a lot of hospitals need patients, they fluctuate their prices. Manufacturing, restaurants, golf, parties. If there's a big event and 10,000 people are expected, and you have your parking lot, which normally you pay $1 to park, now you'll pay $5. And there are a lot of more examples to be made. The revenue manager is the individual or a team responsible for ensuring that the company's prices match a consumer's willingness to pay. The consumer's willingness to pay. Now that's very important, and that's where Hester comes in with her human psychology, because if the customer is not willing to pay the rates that you're offering, then you have a problem. Which means revenue management is a consumer-driven industry. It's not about profit maximization, it's about profit optimization. There's a big difference there. Here it says it's customer-driven and not company-driven. Because why? You want your customer to come back. We have talked about revenue management with a couple of hotels here in Cochabamba. It's a relatively new phenomenon with the hotels. But it is something that might help them to optimize their income instead of just using a flat rate all the time. Is this making any sense to you guys? Get away from the left. Is this making sense to you guys? Yes? All right. Customer-centered revenue is a philosophy that places customer gain ahead of short-term revenue maximization in revenue management decision making. Another example of this, let's say if you're going for maximization of your profit, you're taking advantage of your client. Let's say there's a terremoto in La Paz, okay? Lots of buildings have fallen, there's massive destruction, and people are leaving the city. People are flying out of the city, taking their car and going anywhere to get away from the terremoto. They'll go to Cochabamba. What do the people in Cochabamba do? The hotels, they might raise their prices because demand is going up, right? You need rooms, you pay for it. But only to a certain level. You want to optimize the consumer-driven philosophy that you want to charge a little extra because there's a high demand and the customer will accept this philosophy, but not if you raise your prices 3, 4, 5, 6 times higher than normal. They will be very pissed off. All right? So we're not going for maximization, we're going for optimization. Revenue management is evolving all the time. And it starts with rate parity. Before the internet, a hotel could have a price of a room per night in a travel agent. Or if you call them up, it might be a different price. But since the Internet of Things, everything is transparent, everything is open. You can't hide anymore. So the OTAs in their contract have stated that there should be rate parity. The price that you are charging the OTA should be the price that you also publish on your website. There should not be a difference. This is a big thing between hotels and online travel agents because it's not really fair, but it's the way it is. The challenges that you have in this case is that you need to forecast your demand. Forecast means you need to make a forecast for the next year or the next month or the next week. Optimizing business mix. As we said, you could have business individual, business group, leisure individual, leisure group, and you want to optimize which part of the business you want in your hotel at a certain time. Cancellations and no-shows. People are very lax these days. They just make a reservation and they don't show up. And you lose money because the inventory is perishable. You cannot sell the room anymore because you held the room for this person who didn't show up. Shoulder night occupancy. Now that's a science in itself. Shoulder night occupancy means, let's say Friday night and Saturday night, there's high demand. But on Thursday night and on Sunday night, occupancy drops down. So what you can do, you make packages that include either the Thursday night or the Sunday. Total revenue. You do not only have room revenue, but also food, beverage, your salones, everything. Group business. You don't only have individual people staying in your hotel, but also group business. Distribution management is the channels that are bringing you the reservation. You saw the picture. Is this your nightmare? With all those travel agents, all those OTAs bringing reservations to your hotel, you have to manage that the channels. Pricing. Which price at that moment do you want to ask? And you have to be strategic on that. And you as a business person should know that a strategy, you should have a strategy. You should know what you will do. Let me give you an example of the cost. If a room is booked for $250, now if this room is booked directly to your hotel, you will end up with $243 because all you have is the cost of your reservation department. There may be a bit of your website, but the costs are very minimal. If you're part of a chain or a representative, they will charge you something to use their websites and their reservation motor, and they will charge you a little more. So you add up with 237. Now here are the tough guys, the airline travel agent, Booking, Expedia, Agora, TripAdvisor, name them. You see the difference here? How important it is to be able to manage the channel, that you don't want to sell too many of these through OTAs, but you want direct booking. Or you have a travel website of a travel agent. They use a switch, which is called a global distribution system. And if you're part of a chain, you also need to pay commission, which is slightly lower than this one. And if you do the travel agent, GDS, Pegasus, and chain, you end up with that one. But as you can see, at the end of the day, direct bookings make more sense. Any questions on this? Please raise your hand if you have a question, right? Other challenges that are facing the hotel business is an explosion of distribution channels and online travel agents. There are many people every day finding out another channel, trying to bring business to your hotel. New programs for existing online travel agents like Expedia will give a travel preference for somebody who's a regular customer of Expedia. Meta search engines like Kayak or Trivago. Now, you all think that these are independent companies, but don't be fooled. Kayak belongs to Booking and Trivago belongs to Expedia. So you think you're getting a booking through Trivago, but you're ending up on in the backbone of Expedia. Intermediaries. Google has introduced a new booking engine called Hotelify. Facebook has a booking widget. TripAdvisor has an instant booking button, which they started with Marriott and Best Western. Groupon, I don't know if you know this business, they have a travel app called Getaway Tonight. It used to be Expedia, but they took it over, and Getaway Tonight means that you can get a last-minute hotel room at a very low price. Amazon Travel. Amazon is one of the biggest online stores, and they've started Amazon Travel, but only for independent hotels, not for chain. Marriott, Hilton, or whatever do not work with Amazon Travel. Sam's Club, a mobile travel app owned by Walmart. So somebody who is a customer of Walmart might have a travel app on their phone, so they can make an instant booking to any hotel they want that is connected to this app. Instagram, you can book by just clicking on the photo, and you have a booking. Yelp, which is a US review site, it adds hotel reservations. Alibaba. Anybody knows Alibaba? Yeah? Yep. Alibaba is one of Chinese biggest e-commerce players, and they own Fliggy, right? And knowing that so many people in China are ready to travel, it's an enormous market behind Fliggy that are able to book their room in your hotel. Ctrip, China's licensed OTA, it's being challenged by Fliggy. Ctrip used to be big, but Fliggy with Alibaba behind it is getting bigger all the time. Same day, last minute channels. These guys know Hotel Tonight. They know that you would like to sell your room at the last minute, and you could offer them a special rate, which they will then offer to their clients. Room 77, which is a data search mobile solution, easy booking, and on your phone, you have a reservation. Booking Now, which is an app from Booking.com. Last minute travel deals with Wyndham. Hotwire, Travelocity, Orbitz, all last minute channels owned by Expedia. You think you're doing business with company A, but you're actually doing business with Expedia. Priceline. Now these are disruptors. I'll tell you about TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a sneaky bastard. And I'll tell you why. What they do is you become a member of TripAdvisor, and you book a hotel for $200 a night with a cancellation window of 24 hours. All right? You tell TripAdvisor that you've booked this hotel for $200 with a cancellation window of 24 hours. Now, before arrival, let's say 36 hours before arrival, TripAdvisor will start looking for hotels in the neighborhood of the hotels that you booked. Let's say you booked for $200 at the Marriott, and TripAdvisor finds a cheaper room at Hilton for, let's say, 180. What TripAdvisor will then do is cancel your room at the Marriott and rebook you to the Hilton. That is costing the hotel, in this case the Marriott, one night for $200, but the customer is saving $20. Nor1 is a company that you can team up with, and once you've made the reservation, they can offer you upsell offers like a free use of the spa or an extra breakfast or a different lunch or whatever. Roomba, non-refundable rooms. Sometimes you can make a reservation at a lower price because you cannot cancel it anymore. That means you pay the $200 to Marriott and you can't cancel it. Now, people who've made this reservation sometimes have reasons of their own to cancel this reservation. And what Roomba does, they will buy it off you. They will buy this night off you. Say, well, you're going to lose $200. You know what? We'll give you $100. So they're getting a very cheap room at $100 and then resell it for maybe $150 or $160. Expedia buys Wotif, buys Obits, Hotel Ninjas, interested in Ctrip, Stayzilla, which is an OTA, an online travel agent from India. So the Indian economy is growing like mad. And how many people live in India these days? 1.7 billion or 2.7 billion? You guys know, I don't. But they have Stayzilla, which has an enormous potential to bring hotel reservations to your hotel. Hotel Tonight, one app will know where you're going and send you deals to eat, shop, and play. Just for you, user preferences by TripAdvisor. Reader's Digest, it's an online booking. Albania, I don't know what this is. Anyway, TravelClick. As you see, Amadeus, which is a global distribution system, bought TravelClick for $1.5 billion. These are serious amounts. This. Okay. Why can't the hotel industry not compete with the likes of Booking and Expedia? This is just to give you an example of Booking Holdings and Expedia. They spend $3.775 billion every year on advertising to get you to their site. The hotel market cannot afford themselves. Expedia 2.7, and as you can see, this slide is a little older. It will go up to 5.3 billion. And these are the profit margins that they make, and all these profit margins are being made by the hotels because the hotels are absorbing these reservations. I need to take a little drink of water. Let's look at some trends now. There are not only hotels that just offer rooms, but now we have boutique hotels. We have soft brands, we have lifestyle hotels. We have emphasis on additional specialties. We have collaboration, things working together. I'll give you some examples. Diversification, new brands coming up in the market every day. Brands expanding, redesigning brands, dual branding, two brands under the one roof, acquisitions and announcements, additional issues and in the news. Now look at a couple of boutique brand examples. Archer Hotel in New York, high-end 6-star hotel. Liu Collection is a new brand in South Africa. Joie de Vivre, Epiphany in California. Very trendy boutique size hotels, not big, personal attention, and talking about not big. The Vivanta by Thai in New Delhi. How many rooms do you think this hotel has? 9,800 rooms. 9,800 rooms. Is there a market for it? Yes, there is. Soft brand example. Autograph Collection by Marriott. As a hotel, you can take a franchise with Marriott, but Marriott has an order manual that is about this thick. And they will tell you down to the last bolt or door or the light switch, what and how by Starwood, Curio by Hilton, or Curvus Collection by Castle Resigo, all kinds of examples of soft brand. Lifestyle. One hotels, lifestyle brand that was first opened in Berlin. Jazz in the City, and Boxy by Marriott in Milan. This is a rapidly lifestyle brand by Marriott that is moving around Europe at this moment. You have special focus brand, Citizen M. The thing with Citizen M is they have very small rooms. Their rooms are only 12 square meters. They're 2 meters wide and 6 meters long. And they charge the hell out of it because they'll be able to convey a certain message to their clients, to their guests, that you don't need to be in your room. You need to go out downstairs and meet people. As you can see, this is the bed, wall-to-wall bed, and the rest is just your shower and the entrance. That's it. Element by Westin is an eco-conscious hotel brand. Gualux by International Hotel Group, especially dear to the Chinese traveler. And Trip is a Spanish outfit, family friendly. Special Focus, Freehand, Hotel Hostel, even ASG, geared to health. People who are having an operation get special rooms. 21C Museum Hotels, they have an art background, and Generational Hostel Bar, the Broken Shaker, which is a very well-known hostel, very price conscious, but a great place to stay. Bakareh Mecca Hotel in Mecca, 10,000 rooms. The Broken Shaker again. Collaboration. Companies working together. National Geographic owns 24 hotels in the most difficult places in the world. This is somewhere in Greenland. And do they have business? Yes, because there are eco-conscious people who would like to go there and see nature at its best. Virgin, like Virgin Airlines, they also have a hotel company, Virgin Hotels. This is in Nashville, Tennessee. Bulgari, the jewelry store. Six-star hotels. Margaritaville, Hollywood in Florida. The diversification, Sheraton, Radisson Red, different brand, Red Roof Plus. Red Roof is a very big American chain that had Red Roof hotels, and they just added some more amenities and made it Red Roof Plus and started making money. Louis Regency in New York, six-star hotel. And also new brands are coming up. Baccarat by Starwood, Even Hotels, Duo with Kempinski. This is in Beijing. The Abrash Budai in Mecca, 10,000 rooms. There it is. It was under construction in Mecca. It was projected to open in 2017, but it had some financial hiccups. And it's still not finished. They were going to finish in 2019 and 2020, but that's when the pandemic hit. So they're still not open. It will be the largest hotel in the world, consisting of a ring of 12 towers, 45 stories high with 10,000 bedrooms, 70 restaurants, and 4 rooftop helipads. The other one is behind that. And there will 5 floors will be reserved solely for the Saudi royal family. Now, does this hotel make money? I don't think so. Because it's only used during the Hajj, the time of the Muslims to Mecca. But at that time, they charge you money, and the other times it'll be running at maybe 10% or whatever. But Saudis have money, so they can afford it. Expansions, Protea, Oakwood Suites. This is a new brand that's entering the Latin American market. Estudio 6, a Hotel 6 in Latin America also. Element by Westin, eco-conscious brand in Asia. Marriott is expanding heavily in Panama City by building the tallest hotel in South America. This looks like a hotel in Dubai, right? You know, the hotel in the shape of a sail. Average hotels, you open dozen hotels, Wingate by Wyndham, opening in 3 countries, China, US, and Canada. These are all challenges that hotels are feeling, the regular hotels are facing. Hilton opens Hotel Lagos Airport in Nigeria, a Curio collection by Hilton. Marriott is expanding heavily across Asia and also in Europe. But Marriott also thought about Airbnb. They are rolling out a new service, the rental of location. They recently expanded their pilot with locations in Paris, Rome, and Lisbon, and travelers can now choose from more than 340 homes. They wanted to tackle the Airbnb phenomenon by offering their service called Tribute Portfolio Homes to their regular customers who were not staying in regular Marriotts anymore, but were booking through Airbnb. Redesigned examples: Formula Blue, Days Inn, Super 8, Sleeping by Choice. Your Red Planet is a brand in Asia. This brand also have the robots. You come in, you have your phone, your smartphone, you read a Q code, you enter, and the robot tells you, "You're welcome." This robot will then take you to the elevator. You've already paid online. You have a code to enter the elevator. You go up to your room, you hold your phone to the door opens, and your room is yours. If you want something to drink, you call the robot on your cellular, and it brings up your Coca-Cola and your hamburger. All done by robot. Funny, but I don't think it works. Zoku. This is a Dutch brand, actually, a hybrid hotel and apartment. It's called a hybrid hotel because it's not really just a hotel room, it's a place to stay. As you can see, they have little stairs which you go up, and here's the bedroom, and you close the door, and then you have your bedroom. Now, during the day, if you're not using the bedroom, you come down and you push the stairs into the wall. And you can use this space to work or have a meeting with clients or whatever. And there's also a little kitchenette there, so it's geared for long stay. And it's a very great concept, making good money. Snooze box. Now look at these. These are just containers that are stacked upon each other for a festival or whatever. And they come up and they put up a 300-room hotel in 2 days because it's all pre-designed to fit together, and they will make this a place to sleep. That's all you need in festival. Roost apartment hotels in Philadelphia. Dual branding, where you have two brands from the same company under one roof. Sleep In and Maid Stay by Choice. Renaissance and Residence Inn. Hotel Garden Inn and Homewood Suites. Element and Trivia by Starwood. It's all funny to have like an Element is a 3.5 star eco-conscious brand, and Tribute is a 4-star, but it's all under one roof. Dual branding, Hilton Canopy and Hilton and Hyatt House. Now that's funny. Hilton and Hyatt are competitors, but they're still under one roof in one hotel. Why? Because the owner wanted two brands to be less dependent only on one brand. And here comes Esther. Is it? Until what time have you guys been scheduled?
We have like 25 more meetings.
How many?
25.
35 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. A specialist in consumer behavior and human psychology, and she'd like to take you to a little introduction on what role does the psychology play into pricing.
Yes, I was actually also curious. Do you have questions after the revenue management explanation that Steve gave?
I know it's a lot to take in, and as I explained this morning to another hotel, it's really a science that you can master. And it's not easy, but it's a good way to make money. When you have high demand, you play with your pricing. Have I been able to tell you a little bit about revenue management and also the challenges that all the managers in the hotel have about what's happening in the world, not only in revenue management, but also the changing world economics, the pandemic, which has been a disaster for the hotel world, but also all the new entrants, all the new people coming into the market, and they all want a piece of your little cake, and you're trying to defend your little piece of the cake, which is very important. And have I been able to explain it a little bit to you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Esther.
I was curious.
If you're being strategic, you have a plan. You've made a projection, you've made a forecast, and you know what you're going to do. Now, that forecast is made on data analytics from the past. That's where you apply your strategy. How are you going to run your business for the next year, or the 2 years, or 3 years, right? If you're tactical, all you're thinking about is how will I survive the next week? Okay? So having a strategy, you're looking at long term. And in the hotel business, your hotel is a big building. It's not built for just for 1 week, it's built for 50 years, right? So you need to have a strategy for the future to be able to cope with all the things that are attacking you. Of course, sometimes you have to be tactical. Do I go left, go right, or go straight? Sometimes you have to go tactical, but you have to apply a strategy based on data that you have in the past. Okay? Let me give you an example about being tactical and strategy. Public transport in Stockholm, in Sweden, they have buses, trams, trains, whatever. They will take a bus out of service before it breaks down. Okay? Because they know from data they've collected about this bus that it's run 200,000 miles, it needs maintenance, it's going to break down because it's 7 years old. So they're going to take it out of production before it breaks down without disrupting the system. Now that's a strategy. All right? Thank you for your question. Good question. Thank you. Any more questions?
Right. So after this conversation about strategy and finance and the numbers, what do you think that consumer psychology has to do for the story? Why would you care about the psychology of consumers? I know it's Friday evening, but come on, guys. What do you think? Why would you care about psychology, or would you not want to care about it?
For the go, but ready to go to.
Is anyone ever interested in psychology, or did you have class psychology already? Or no? All right, let me try to make it a little bit interesting in the last 50 minutes. So we all have this brain, right? And it's also interesting to think like how do we ourselves think? And we have two systems in our heads, just like all the customers that you want to perceive in the future. And does anyone know about these two systems? What would be the difference between the systems? way of thinking? No idea? Well, you have one system that is really about intuition and instinct, and one system is really about rational thinking. So the intuition is really the fast, automatic, associative things that you do without being conscious of it, right? You do it without thinking about it rationally. And the other part is that you really think very slowly and it takes you a lot of effort, but you make logical decisions. And you're also conscious about what you're doing. You can really rely upon this way of thinking. Does this sound familiar? Do you have these two different parts in your brain as well? So this is more like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about it anymore. You do it without, or going to school. You don't have to think about the way anymore, but the route. And sometimes if you have a new school, you even take the same route because you're so adjusted to it, right? But the other thing is really about making decisions and writing a thesis or thinking about your content very consciously. So, what percentage do you think is the right part, the rational thinking part? What percentage of our decisions do you think is made rationally? 20, or 5, or
5%.
Yeah. Who thinks it's higher than 5%? Who thinks it's lower than 5%? Well, it's 5% exactly. So only 5% of our choices is made rationally, and the rest is made irrationally. And what does this mean? Well, a lot. I can tell you a lot about this. I put some input here because I was not sure what would be interesting for you. But I think you have two takeaways from this. One is that you can set a price and you think that people are only driven by price. For example, talking about the hotels that Steve did, you can think like, I just give you the lowest price and people will immediately buy this because that's rational, right? And you save money. But people are actually not rational. They care about more than just the rational things and just the conscious things. They also care about other things that influence them. And what do you think that other things are that influence us? What factors influence our choices? For example, when choosing for a product or a hotel or a service. Any idea? Status? Yeah. How you feel about what kind of image you have for the external world? Other things that influence your choices? Sure. Dedication? What do you mean by that? Oh, the location, yeah, okay. So also a more practical thing. Yeah, okay. Well, there are actually 6 principles that really influence our decision making. And one of it is that when something is really scarce, for example, in the hotel business, when you see that a room is if there's only one room left, then you're more intrigued to buy it. Because you think, oh, maybe this is the last one. And even though it's exactly rationally the same choice, same decision, if you see that there's only one spot left, then it makes it more scarce. You think, oh, maybe I want this. And so there are more not rational decision-making elements. Also, for example, when you call with the hotel manager, and your name is Steve, and you call with this hotel manager, and he's this, what was the name of this like Steve? Well, for example, when he's called Simon, that he only has the same front letter of his name, but it makes it look like your name, and that already gives you a feeling of liking it. But really not rational at all. But when your name is a little bit similar, or when he has the same glasses, or when you hear that he has the same accent as you already like that person more. And even though it's not rational at all, you are more intrigued to buy from them. And I'm thinking we only have 20 or 15 minutes left, so I have two parts that I want to tell you about, or about this a little bit more, or about the business model that takes a broader look at how you create value. So I want to actually give you the decision of what you want to dive into a little bit more. Do you want to dive into persuasion, how to persuade people to make a choice? Or do you want to know more about value creation as a business? Persuasion? Okay. So I'm not going to tell you more about it. I actually have a movie first, and then we're going to think like how could we do this for our business ideas, for example. But I hope the sound will work. I think no. Is there anyone who knows more about the sound? Santiago is going to check anything. Sorry?
There is no sound.
No?
Maybe sometimes.
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, but then we have to focus a little bit. It's a bit more boring, but let's see.
Researchers have been studying the factors that influence us to say yes to the requests of others. Researchers have been studying the factors that influence us to say yes to the requests of others for over 60 years. And there can be no doubt that there's a science to how we are persuaded. And a lot of this science is surprising. When making a decision, it would be nice to think that people consider all the available information in order to guide their thinking. But the reality is very often different. In the increasingly overloaded lives we lead, more than ever, we need shortcuts or rules of thumb to guide our decision making. My own research has identified just 6 of these shortcuts as universals that guide human behavior. They are reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Understanding these shortcuts and employing them in an ethical manner can significantly increase the chances that someone will be persuaded by your request. Let's take a closer look at each in turn.
So, the first universal principle of influence is reciprocity. Simply put, people are obliged to give back to others the form of behavior, gift, or service that they have received first. If a friend invites you to their party, there's an obligation for you to invite them to a future party you are hosting. If a colleague does you a favor, then you owe that colleague a favor. And in the context of a social obligation, people are more likely to say yes to those that they owe. One of the best demonstrations of the principle of reciprocation comes from a series of studies conducted in restaurants. So the last time you visit a restaurant, there's a good chance that the waiter or waitress would have given you a gift, probably at about the same time that they bring you a bill, a liqueur perhaps, or a fortune cookie, or perhaps a simple mint. So here's the question. Does the giving of a mint have any influence over how much tip you're going to leave them? Most people will say no, but that mint can make a surprising difference. In the study, giving diners a single mint at the end of their meal typically increased tips by around 3%. Interestingly, if the gift is doubled and 2 mints provided, Tips don't double. They quadruple, a 14% increase in tips. But perhaps most interestingly of all is the fact that if the waiter provides 1 minute, starts to walk away from the table, but pauses, turns back, and says, for you nice people, here's an extra minute, tips go through the roof. A 23% increase, influenced not by what was given, but how it was given. So the key to using the principle of reciprocation is to be the first to give and to ensure that what you give is personalized, unexpected.
The second universal principle of persuasion is scarcity. Simply put, people want more of those things they can have less of. When British Airways announced in 2003 that they would no longer be operating the twice-daily London-New York Concorde flight because it had become uneconomical to run, sales the very next day took off. Notice that nothing had changed about the Concorde itself. It certainly didn't fly any faster, the service didn't suddenly get better, and the airfare didn't drop. It had simply become a scarce resource, and as a result, people wanted it more. So when it comes to effectively persuading others using the scarcity principle, the science is clear. It's not enough simply to tell people about the benefits they'll gain if they choose your products and services. You'll also need to point out what is unique about your proposition and what they stand to lose if they fail to consider your proposal.
Our third principle of influence is the principle of authority, the idea that people follow the lead of credible, knowledgeable experts. Physiotherapists, for example, are able to persuade more of their patients to comply with recommended exercise programs if they display their medical diplomas on the walls of their consulting rooms. People are more likely to give change for a parking meter to a complete stranger if that requester wears a uniform rather than casual clothes. What the science is telling us is that it's important to signal to others what makes you a credible, knowledgeable authority before you make your influence attempt. Of course, this can present problems. You can hardly go around telling potential customers how brilliant you are, but you can certainly arrange for someone to do it for you. And surprisingly, the science tells us that it doesn't seem to matter if the person who introduces you is not only connected to you, but also likely to prosper from the introduction themselves. One group of real estate agents were able to increase both the number of property appraisals and the number of subsequent contracts that they wrote by arranging for reception staff who answered customer inquiries to first mention their colleagues' credentials and expertise. So, customers interested in letting a property were told, lettings? Let me connect you with Sandra, who has over 15 years experience letting properties in this area. Customers who wanted more information about selling properties were told, speak to Peter, our head of sales. He has over 20 years experience selling properties. I'll put you through now. The impact of this expert introduction led to a 20% rise in the number of appointments and a 15% increase in the number of signed contracts. Not bad for a small change informed from persuasion science that was both ethical and costless to implement.
The next principle is consistency. People like to be consistent with the things they have previously said or done. Consistency is activated by looking for and asking for small initial commitments that can be made. In one famous set of studies, researchers found, rather unsurprisingly, that very few people would be willing to erect an unsightly wooden board on their front lawn to support a Drive Safely campaign in their neighborhood. However, in a similar neighborhood close by, 4 times as many homeowners indicated that they would be willing to erect this unsightly billboard. Why? Because 10 days previously, they had agreed to place a small postcard in the front window of their home that signaled their support for a Drive Safely campaign. That small card was the initial commitment that led to a 400% increase in a much bigger but still consistent change. So, when seeking to influence using the consistency principle, the detective of influence looks for voluntary, active, and public commitments, and ideally gets those commitments in writing. For example, one recent study reduced missed appointments at health centers by 18% simply by asking the patients rather than the staff to write down appointment details on the future appointment card.
The fifth principle is the principle of liking. People prefer to say yes to those that they like. But what causes one person to like another? Persuasion science tells us that there are three important factors. We like people who are similar to us, we like people who pay us compliments, and we like people who cooperate with us towards mutual goals. As more and more of the interactions that we are having take place online, it might be worth asking whether these factors can be employed effectively in, let's say, online negotiations. In a series of negotiation studies carried out between MBA students at two well-known business schools, some groups were told, time is money, get straight down to business. In this group, around 55% were able to come to an agreement. A second group, however, were told, before you begin negotiating, exchange some personal information with each other. Identify a similarity you share in common, then begin negotiating. In this group, 90% of them were able to come to successful and agreeable outcomes that were typically worth 18% more to both parties. So to harness this powerful principle of liking, be sure to look for areas of similarity that you share with others and genuine compliments you can give before you get down to business.
The final
So I think this is enough examples. But let's stick to the 6 principles of influence. Do they sound familiar to you? Did you ever trick into one of them or influenced by these kinds of principles? Which one? Darcy, yeah. How does that influence mood? Yeah. And you're more intrigued by it. You think, oh, maybe I also. And there was an example. Yeah. So for example, when everyone looks that side, it's very difficult for you to look that side because everyone's looking there and you're like, oh, maybe there's something going on there. But also the OTAs, like the booking website, maybe you sometimes notice that they say that 10 people are also looking at this moment, or that in 2 days already 5 people booked this hotel. They think like, oh, if all the others do it, maybe I should do it too. Or I think also the for example, the authority. Yeah, there. When we were in one hotel, Hotel Cochabamba, there was actually like a little photo on the wall of one of the cleaning ladies. Every piso has a photo on the wall of the cleaning lady with her credentials and her name. I think it's a little bit of a combination of like and authority. Because you already are more attached to this woman. Like, oh yeah, I know who she is, and she has a credential for it as well, and that makes you already give more respect. So I don't know, do you know any, for example, for the hotel business that we're now in? We were talking about the hotel business. Do you recognize one of these principles that's very influential?
I do.
Instead of people that obviously want to go for the lowest price.
Well, actually, you've given a very good example with authority. Booking.com is a master of using psychology in the booking process. Because what they will, I can pull up the slide, I'll have to find it, it's somewhere hidden around. Actually, when you go to their site, and very small, they will see book now, right? They have a booking button, but under the booking button says 7 people are looking now to book. And you're saying, oh shit, I should go and book now before these guys get the rate that I want, right? It's all psychology based on the authority that the site is showing you and also by saying, well, 27 people booked this room in the last half hour. So first of all, they tell you it's being booked very fast. 27 people already booked. And 7 people are looking right now to book. So what you want to do and get some, I'm going to book. So they tricked you into booking. They've been penalized for this because it's illegal to do it, but it's a psychology game they play. And it is, okay, it brings business, so that's what it does. And it comes by the science of persuasion.
This is mainly about the brings business. How do you influence, persuade people to buy from you? But in the whole business, it's about more than just rational things, like more than numbers, right? Because once people bought from you, you also have to make sure that you really bring value. So, for example, in a hotel, it's not finished with just making a reservation. It's about actually the whole experience after. Because people, the next time they will come to Pechibamba, it's not about, again, searching for the best price online, but it's more about the feeling. What the feeling that they give? Did they give me attention all the time? Was I facilitated all the time? Did I feel like I could talk with these people? Did I feel at home there? So this is what I wanted to show in the business model. But maybe just write this down for yourself. The business model canvas, and then you can read something about it. As you can see, it's really about not only making money as a business, which is about the cost structure and the what comes in per pocket. It's about a lot more than that. It's really about how do you create value, for which customer segments do you create which value, which channels do you provide it to them, but mainly also how do you keep relationships. That's a very, very quick introduction of this. But yeah, I hope that you maybe get a takeaway from this, and maybe remember this picture. That in the head of the consumers, it's not only about rational thinking and just looking at numbers, it's really about what kind of values you offer and how can you persuade. So that's a very quick introduction of what consumer psychology has to do with it. I hope it fits a little bit into the story of how do you make revenue out of it. I hope you will remember this part. And then, do you have any last questions about this part, the whole part? Nothing? And I think you have a weekend now. So thanks for your staying up.
Still have class tomorrow?
No.
No classes?
Plans for tomorrow? Yes.
Yes, but. Okay, guys, thank you for your attention. I know it's been a long week, and the long part, the last part of the week has been with 2 boring people from the Netherlands, but we hope that we've shared some of our passions, some of our knowledge with you, and we wish you